So, what's going on, guys? As you can see, there's no motor in here, no transmission, no radiator. The only thing left is fuel filter and some brake lines. You can see over here I got the wiring harness for the headlights. Like I told you guys previously, those are going to be ran behind the fenders. And I've been looking around at how to do this wire tuck and brake line tuck and everything in further detail, and what people are doing is they're taking the actual power brake booster and they spin it 180 degrees. That way the vacuum line is on the bottom and you'll run that into the vacuum system pretty easy. If you take your motor all apart and forget where things need to go, there's actually a vacuum hose routing diagram on the underneath of the hood, so that's definitely helpful. Big part of the update was just I got the motor and transmission out. So yeah, you can see I got the motor mount here, there, and here. There was one underneath here that was kind of hooked. It was like an attachment that went to the motor, and then it went here, it mounted in. It was like where the AC compressor used to go, so that wasn't on here. So I just took that mount off, and then there's another mount underneath there. I'm not sure what mounts need to go back on, if that one's required or not. If not, I just probably won't obviously put it back on. It's just weight and stuff I don't need. But if it's like a mandatory required mount, then I'll just put it back on for sure. I was looking around at these lines and stuff and what my options were for what I'm going to do, and where the line comes from the clutch and everything, like goes to the transmission, you know, to change the throw bearing and whatnot, all that stuff. That's just going to be ran next to the motor, like behind it underneath the intake manifold, come up over the transmission, go to the transmission. As you can see right here, this is what I'm talking about. This line will be ran like over the transmission and just down under the intake manifold. Then all the brake lines, the people put this right here underneath, like inside the car underneath the dash, so I think that's something I'll do. I'm gonna try and figure out my options with that, but it's looking pretty good. I'm just gonna sand it all down sometime soon and take the welder, fill in all the little holes, take all the stickers off, shave it completely, and hit it with some black paint. I'm gonna go with a inline fuel filter actually, so that way I don't have one sitting on the firewall somewhere before the fuel rail, probably next to the fuel rail actually, like maybe down under the intake or something so it's hidden. I'll put an inline fuel filter, and I'll just have to check that every now and then, and I'll just make it one of my mandatory routine checkup things that I have to do. There's tons of places where you see bolt holes, and very few places have the bolts that they are required to have. So as you can see here, I've got a bolt, and that bolt's for the radiator. You have like a little mount that goes up here and hooks onto the top of the radiator. So I've got that one still in there. I'll obviously put the ones in for the headlights because the headlights will come off. I've got one right here for the throttle cable mount that holds the throttle cable in position. That'll pretty much be the only things that need to be not welded, besides, you know, the stuff for the struts or coilovers and the upper control arms, all that good stuff. It's pretty much done. I don't think I'm going to be needing to do much for wiring. I'm going to take all the wires, and they're all, like, the way the wiring harness is meant for this is it all connects over here because this is where the factory plugs are. So I'm going to have to cut and extend all those plug wires. I think I'll run it through the firewall, and somewhere in that area right there I'll make like a little grommet and the wires will come poking out of it, and I'll have to make that custom whole engine harness again to go to the center of the car rather than over there. So that's just going to be a little setback, but it'll look really pretty for sure. And I got rid of the charcoal canister. It was just something on the VX for emissions that you don't need here in Maine, so got rid of that. There's a bunch of really unnecessary stuff. EGR valve, I don't think I needed that either, or the control box. I don't know. I'll figure it out and I'll let you guys know when that time comes. But for now, it looks like the only thing on my firewall is going to be my brakes, and I'm not getting rid of power brakes, so I'll keep that, and I'll have to find a place for the clutch fluid. But it's looking really good. I'm happy with it. I was honestly surprised. I've read up online that really the easy way to take these motors out is coming down, and we didn't really want to do that, especially since I don't have a lift here at the house. We have one at the shop. We ended up pulling it up through, so we just unhooked that mount, unhooked that mount, unhooked that one, the two side ones, and got the engine crane over here, started lifting it up a little bit, and we got it to come out of this mount going down. We pulled it that way, I believe, or pushed it that way, I should say, and then we lifted it up and kind of just pulled it out like that. It came out pretty good, so I was surprised. Literally, to do a motor change on a Honda Civic would probably take a 17mm wrench, a 14mm wrench, maybe a 12 in some places, so super easy. Honestly, I don't know what I was stressing about. It's not going to be hard doing this at all. Just going to weld in the holes, paint it, paint the other motor too. I forgot to mention that, but it should look pretty sweet. I'm going to be excited when it's all done. So I just want to give you guys an update that the motor's out and that things are going pretty smoothly, so I'll catch you guys later.